Welcome to Generating Joy series powered by Generation Thrive. I am your host, and I like to say, um, there was a day when we used to take cruise. I used to go on a cruise ship and things like that. And so we're kind of like your cruise ship director, but we're really safe behind the Zoom cameras. Tonight with Generation Thrive, we thank you for the partnership with the Warriors Foundation and Kaiser Permanente. I am Genji Heiston, co-founder and CEO of Blaze Consulting Group. We do a lot of work throughout the Bay Area and California in many areas. But tonight we're really here to hold space for those of us who are in leadership or in some way serving communities, serving students. And one of the things I have learned in my work over the last 18 months in trying to help leaders move forward is sometimes we just need a space that is safe for us to talk about what's going on. Sometimes to say we don't quite know what's going on, but we got to figure it out quickly because we have to lead students, parents, communities, and foundation and all those. And so tonight, Franklin Heiston, who's my partner, will not be on the call tonight. But one of the things that we really love to do, and the purpose is to just take a moment to pause and to figure out what do we as leaders need to move one step forward or even to just take care of ourselves. And so the purpose here, for those of you who are new on the call, welcome, welcome. And those that you have been with us before, thank you, thank you. Tonight, Generating Joy is a 7-part series rooted in social emotional coaching support for educators and nonprofit organizations throughout the Bay Area who support young people. Generating Joy will help you navigate through challenges and stress of the present social climate. Generating Joy will focus on a variety of topics, including dealing with uncertainty, playing to win, social justice, and partnering with parents in your professional role. Okay. If you're in the right place tonight, be like, hoo. Now that sounds super formal, like we have all kind of rubrics and theories and frameworks. We're going to do a little bit, but then we're going to do some hard work. In this moment, the other thing that we know is in education and even service providers, there's the whole concept of social emotional learning framework. And one of the things we've learned over the course of these last couple years is that us adults sometimes really need that. Like we need self-awareness, we need relationships and those things as well. So we're kind of anchored in that a little bit. And so what I want to start, and I do ask if you can please participate. One, I'd love to hear your voice. And if you can't verbally bring your voice forward, I'd love to see your words typed out. And the check-in question that we start in, and first I want everyone to take a moment, if possible, to plant your feet, to close your eyes, to take a deep breath. If you are here at this moment, I know that there's a lot that came before this hour. That you did something, you said something, you showed up somewhere, you typed something, you stretched yourself, and you gave. And in this moment, I want you, as you take a deep breath with me, inhale in and exhale out. I want you to release what you could not control today and push that out of your breath. And inhale the beauty of what you showing up meant. Did it mean something to a kid, to a parent, to a staff member? Did it mean something to you? And as you move that through your mind and your heart and your body, I want you to take a moment to think of someone that you learned a lesson from, a lesson that has been guiding you through this season, however you identify that season. And as you hold that lesson, I'd like for you to share it in the chat box, if that's comfortable for you. And I'll share my lesson, and I'd love to see if people out loud would also like to share theirs. In this season, the lesson I take is from my dear mentor who has passed away, Akiyu Hatano, is that no matter our race, our color, our religion that we're humans. And she taught me that there's something beautiful in the collective human. That's my lesson. Do you have a lesson to share? What has been a guiding lesson through this season of your life, or even just through this day from someone? It's like our universal clock. Nestro, thank you so much. I'm sorry your connection is a little staticky, but thank you for staying on. I see one comment. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron, would you like to share out loud, or would you like me to just read yours? Okay, now I'm wondering if my audio is working. Okay, it's working. All right. Thank you, dear. All right, what's your lesson? We'll pause for a minute. Sometimes we need the pause. And sometimes it takes a moment to generate the response, because as leaders, we're so much helping others that we actually aren't reflecting on what's helping us. Thank you. Aaron says self-care, which was taught to them by a mentor. And I would love to pronounce your name right. Can you please correct me? AhaghighI, or tell me it before I get it wrong.
It's Amy, actually.
Oh, Amy, okay. Amy, I love that I hear your voice. Would you like to share out loud?
Sure. I think just one morning in my Calm app, it came up with this lovely quote that was essentially what I typed here, just, to stop fixating on the things that are completely out of your control, and instead put the energy you have, however much it is, into the things you can improve upon and take joy from, because otherwise it feels like a losing game this year.
Right. I'm glad you said that. If you have felt anything Amy said, please put up a heart or something, but what can you control? And I think that's one of the things this season has told us is you got all these great plans and ideas, and oh wow. Oh wow. Thank you, Amy. Larissa, am I saying your name right, my friend?
Yes, that's correct.
Hi. So nice to hear your phone. I feel like we're on the radio,
So having sound problems.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry about that. Do you want me to thank you for sharing yours? Thank you. I'm glad you're here too. All right, let me see if I can mute that. Great. And then we have principals come and go. Focus on your class and your students, mentors, teachers. You all, that's right. I used to be a dean and a teacher, and with our students even more now today than others, it's really important to be present in the moment and to hold that moment, right? All right, you all. Well, thank you. Let's go ahead and advance our slides forward here. Great. So one of the things we want to talk about tonight is when we talk about generating joy, one of the big things I've come to find more than ever, while we do complex frameworks and theories around race, equity, class sizes, redesigning schools, all these things, what we find about nurturing the human spirit so that we can nurture others is that the things that I have found up and down the state of California in particular is that it's actually the most simple things that are getting us forward, that are restoring the spirit and the energy of leaders. For those of you all who never got a break during COVID, you didn't get a break. You went into crisis mode, right? My hands and hat is off to you all. But now some of us, and if you identify with this, put up a little emoji or something in chat box. Some of us are just tired. You're on this call because maybe the topic was interesting, but you actually are just a little bit tired and could use an extended vacation. And I've never known so many people to take sabbaticals right now. Right? Yeah, it's real. It's real. And so tonight, for those of us who can't just check out, who can't take sabbatical, who don't want to leave our kids, our students, because they need you more now than ever, who don't want to leave your staff because they need you more now than ever, let's talk about how we do self-care every single moment of the day if we can't get away. And as you guys notice, the jokes is coming, my chair is going further and further down. In case you needed Comedy Central, here we are. All right, so gratitude, boosting our mood. When we write down what we are grateful for or express our thanks to someone directly, our brains release dopamine and serotonin. And so I want to take 2 minutes again to show you all a video for the first time, but I want to remind us, a lot of you probably already know this, and maybe some for the first time, is there could possibly be a science behind joy. Now that's, some people will argue that, but if we can rewire our brains for other things, then is it possible for us to create processes or ritualistic things we do that actually pull us out of sadness, fatigue, even if it's just for a moment at a time? One of the things I found is sometimes I need 20-minute increments because you're going from crisis to crisis or student to student, and you just need a little boost. All right, if you're with me, say, hey, Gigi. Just playing. You can if you do. I do love shout outs and like we're at a concert together. Oh, thank you. Someone, okay, that was a new pushing the phone button. Good job, good, love it. All right, my friends, so let's take a moment to go ahead and watch this video.
Research shows that adopting an attitude of gratitude simply
Let me expand the video. Come on, video, open.
Research shows that adopting an attitude.
Before I pause, can you all see that in that little square? Just want to make sure. Full screen. This is where technology is tired today too. All right. Let me go out of this mode. Thank you for your patience, you all. Especially I find that educators really get it when technology has a hiccup or throws a tantrum, I should say. All right, here we go, my friends.
Research shows that adopting an attitude of gratitude, simply expressing appreciation and being more thankful, can measurably improve your overall well-being. For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others, a pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones. Here are a few simple ways to deliberately cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Celebrate minor accomplishments. Think about what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't. Tell the people in your life something you appreciate about them. Tell yourself too. Volunteer, hold a door for a stranger, or simply smile more, and you'll probably feel better, as kindness and giving are connected to gratitude. Similar positive brain changes can occur from regular meditation and mindfulness. Keep a daily gratitude journal using an old-fashioned notebook or a high-tech app. The science is clear. Give gratitude a go. You'll be thankful you did.
I like that, give gratitude a go. You'll be thankful you did, right? And so one of the things that my friend, and I'm gonna have you guys chit chat a little bit, is that one of the things this individual says is tell yourself to. what they're doing good or grateful. How many of you find, and I find this in a lot of leaders, especially now, you're so critical of all the many things you can't check off the list, or maybe how you didn't show up the best, or all these things, but you actually didn't affirm yourself for all the extraordinary things you did today. Have any of you affirmed yourself today? I see your friend's face, my friend. Go ahead. I think I heard her voice. What were you going to say?
Not until now, but thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, my friend. And it's important because we have to be our best cheerleaders sometimes. So what I want to do here is I want to give you guys a second to go into breakout rooms. I know some people may get a little bit nervous in breakout rooms, but that's okay. I think it allows a little bit of intimacy for conversation. And in those breakout rooms, there will be groups of 3, hopefully. Let's see what happens right here. 2 to 3 folks in those rooms. And in your breakout rooms for about 7 to 10 minutes, what I'd like to do is for you all to take a moment to look at these questions that we have here. Let me try to set the breakout room. I'm putting it for 10 minutes, just so you all know, especially my folks who love to know times. I'm with you on that one. In your breakout room, I want you to talk about 2 things here. You may want to take a picture of my screen that I'm about to put up so that you could see what the questions are. And in that room, what came up for you when watching the video, right? One thing that stuck out for me was tell yourself something you did good or are grateful for today, right? I didn't do that today. I built a lot of experiences for folks, but I didn't take that moment. I will before bed. So how can you take the reins to create your own feel-good moments? One of the things he says in that in regards to the science is that actually if we start doing certain behaviors, we can rewire ourselves that it actually may be our default to have gratitude and joy as opposed to being critical. And so in that room, let's take 10 minutes together and share with each other these 2 questions. All right. Wonderful faces. Welcome back, you all. Welcome back. Just so you all know, I wound up hanging in this room because there were some people we couldn't put in other rooms. We had a great conversation. So we'd love to pause for a moment and see if there's someone from each room that would like to make a statement or what came up for them. Representing our room, Nestro has some really good things to say, and I'd love for Nestro to say at least one of those statements in this room to share with you all. Wisdom is amongst all of us and within all of us, and we're going to pull that together to make a collective quilt tonight. Nestro.
Yeah, so Jenny, you asked me to repeat this, and I'm repeating it in my head, that when things get really rough, I remind myself, I go, wait a minute, you're one of the good guys, remember? You know, you got to step up here. You're one of the good guys. Even if you sit in the back, it's okay. But remember, you are one of the good guys. Come on, step up and see what you can make happen here. It's almost like a little superhero thing. Hey, you're one of the good guys.
That's good. Even if we just write that on a Post-it sometime, because even the good guys sometimes have to deliver hard stuff, but you're one of the good guys. I heard a voice. Who was that? Okay, great. Is there someone else in another room that would also like to share? What came up for you all? Did you guys talk? I'm just curious now. Did you talk in the room? Okay, yes, winning. What was something you wanted to bring out of that?
We talked about taking the thoughts and making them positive, and to create more dopamine and getting more of that going, and just keeping it rolling, keeping the happy thoughts and keeping that rolling.
Right, great. Thank you so much for sharing, my friend. Anyone else? Keeping it rolling. That's just good to say. Keep rolling. I keep hearing a voice, I think, trying to come in. Are you there? Great. One of the things that came up in our room and I want to share before we go to the try this list or leads into it. So I've been a teacher, a dean, a teacher in West Oakland, a dean for a continuation high school, have founded a nonprofit, have sunsetted a nonprofit, 2 of them, and also now run a for-profit. And one of the things I've acquired along the way are some techniques. So one, in working with kids, and Nestro, you brought this up, my friend, in our room, sometimes there's just really hard days. And sometimes there's a lot to take in. And one of the things around generating joy and gratitude is knowing when to release. And so Akiu Hatana, who I told you all about when I was young and teaching, she gave me this image I'd like to share with you all of a sponge. I want you to hold your hand up like this, like you're holding like one of those big industrial sponges. Mine's is always green, that little really kind of green bluish, right? I don't know what your color is. And she said, Gingy, when you walk in here, you're like a sponge and you are collecting poison. That poison is sadness, it's a kid's abuse, it's their fear, it's their anger against themselves, it's low self-esteem, it is hatred for adults because they've never known a loving adult. It is young men pushing up against older men because they've never had a positive man. It's language, all these different things that when I walk into the space, I'm collecting it in my sponge, right? So I want you to think about what you collected today that you're absorbing into your sponge. She said the goal in life as a servant leader and as an educator is to wring out the sponge and the poison before you get home.
Yeah.
Now that sounded good, but she said, wring it out before you get home. So I said, well, how do you do that? And what I learned is it takes years of working with that sponge to know when I get in my car, when I walk home, when I step away from the desk, to sit in the moment, to look at the sponge, to hold it, to speak life into it, to follow up with emails, to hold out good intentions, to let go of any resentment or grudges I may have against a student or a client or a funder, because I'll say it for you guys. You don't have to say it, but I'll say it. We're only human, and so we carry things. But if we don't wring that sponge out today, we carry it in tomorrow. And it steals our joy of why we even got involved in this type of work. And so I want you on your piece of paper right now to write down what's in your sponge today. And I'm doing this so you remember tomorrow you'll see my face doing this with my hands. That's me wringing out the sponge. Even if you got to put a sponge on your desk, but what's the sponge for? Don't ask. What is in that sponge after today that you need to wring out and leave here so you can walk away with joy and gratefulness? Let's take about 2 minutes. No one's going to see this, so you can be as honest as possible. So when I was a teacher, I would put some names. Boy, would I put some names. Oh, bless you, all my teachers, my CEOs, my nonprofit folks, those who work on direct service, line staff, those who after school providers. I'd probably put some teachers, maybe who didn't want me to use their classrooms when I needed to take the kids out of the rain. I could roll examples all day if you need them, my friends. But what is it? Okay. I challenge you to at least put 2 down. Great. And when you're ready with your 2, I'd love for you to, I'll know you're ready by either looking up at me or by putting an emoji of some sort or something like that. Okay. And if you like, you're always welcome to put it in the chat box if you feel comfortable. And if not, you can hold it for yourself. What's in your sponge? Okay. And when you're ready to wring out that sponge, move forward. So how do you wring that sponge out? So glad you asked. And I know some of you have great answers as well. What I found is it wasn't waiting for Christmas break. Thanksgiving break. I was going to break down by then, or some of us, right? You're tired. But it was every day when I got away from my students, when I got away from the people I served, either in the office space or in your car, what song shifts your mood? Music is so dope, y'all, because you could put on a song that literally will bring you back to like, whoa, and it changes everything. So I used music back in that day, back when I was a teacher. Well, there's a lot of different music I use, but DMX was one of my go-tos. I was in my 20s then, but I don't know, it just did something. I also would go to Creed, which was a rock group at some points, old school Metallica. Like there was just certain music that would just like, whoo, lift it. Or who's your person? Who's your person outside of your job that doesn't know the students and doesn't know the people you work with that you may be able to wring it out to? Sometimes, I heard one of my friends earlier, I lost a lot of kids. Sometimes I would go to the beach or Emery Bay and cry. I just needed a good cry. It wasn't broken, but took in a lot of poison. And so I'd like to be silent for a moment and see if any of you would like to share either what you want to wring out of your sponge or what you use. Crying cleaves the soul. Yes, Tammy. Are you there, Tammy?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. It's a little late coming on, a little confused, but it's okay.
It's okay. You're here on time. What came up for you, Tammy?
Stress, and more stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of stuck in the shoulds. Like these third, fourth, fifth SDC, moderate to severe.
Right. Okay.
So they should behave better. They shouldn't be running around. So I'm stuck in the shoulds and they're misbehaving and there's not much I can do about it because there's not much I can do about it.
Right.
So
right.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And you know, Tammy, I think saying that is powerful because we have expectations as professionals and we feel like it's reflective of us. I had one of the districts I work with, I had a leader remind me that my third graders haven't been here since first grade. My 12th graders haven't really been on campus since 10th grade. They said, I feel like I have 2 9th grade classes. I feel like I have 2 TK classes. And so part of in this season, the should of what our former expectation was should be rewritten for our students, but also for you, because it extends grace to you as well. You all my hat is off to those who are in the classroom right now, because the rules of engagement have changed and where we thought kids should be today doesn't fit the criteria we used 3 years ago.
Yeah. And sometimes, well, what's going on in your classroom? What are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Is there anyone that can relate to Tammy or just be a ally right now as an in-room teacher? Is there any words you'd like to share? You see your hands, Tammy, you see those gestures?
What does that mean?
Me too. Except I teach kindergarten, so I'm kind of dealing with kids acting like 3-year-olds instead of,
And they're 5th graders. So there's the shoulds.
Yeah. When on Halloween, my niece is 11th grade. She won't be watching this, so it's safe to say. And so my husband and I gave out candy, but then we brought some of her friends back to our house. A couple young men, they were seniors, but I thought they were 10th graders. And so I said, what grade are you guys in? They're like 12th grade. And as we took them home and my husband and I reflect on everything I said, developmentally, they're not ready. And I can almost, because they weren't at school for 10th and 11th grade. So they actually were not, they didn't feel like seniors, but because they lost 2 years. And so I think this moment is important for you all as educators and direct service providers, because you're not tripping, right? So this is, yes. And then my friend, I can't see your name. Oh, Carson, I saw you had a response as well. What came up for you in regards to what we're talking about with Tammy? You had a thumbs up.
Yeah, I just can relate to the stress, and it's got some challenging students I'm trying to work with, and I know I feel like the pandemic really affected them a lot. And just trying to get them back into it, and taking it a day at a time.
Yeah, it's a good day at a time. Have any of you ever had the moment, I know I did as a teacher, I was like, forget this agenda, it's not working. Everyone, let's just sit in a circle and cry or laugh together, right? How many of you are kind of like rewriting your curriculum day to day? I see you up there, my friend. Joey, do you want to say something?
So, yeah, I was a first grade teacher for 10 years, and I am now an administrator. And so my view is more of a balcony view.
Yeah.
And just sort of watching what's happening and listening to my teachers say similar things about, oh my God, they're like first graders. And I'm like, well, yes, they are, yes, you're a third grade teacher. And yes, they're like first grade. And what I'm walking through is really trying to encourage the social emotional moment, encourage the social emotional lessons that people don't really like to deliver because nobody feels like they're adequately trained to do that, or that they are proficient enough to do that. And right now, dude, all I'm thinking is, when you see it falling apart and you're tossing out the lesson plan and it's not working, just let's breathe for a minute.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I give you permission. I have given everybody here permission. I'm like, this year isn't about academics for me. It's about bringing kids back to the fold. It's having kids feel safe, because they're not going to be in a headspace to learn if they're not feeling that. Right? There's a lot of uncertainty. There's still people dealing with COVID. There's still people dying. The violence in my community is huge. And so I had to teach for a couple of weeks in a 6th grade class, and I was running a circle every morning. And kids that were pretty hardcore started sharing. Like they say, if you share enough, eventually somebody shares with you, right? And so every day I bled my soul out to those kids, and eventually they started sharing. And some of the things that they were sharing that they were dealing with in the neighborhood, in the home, and I was like, oh, dude, and you still get up and show up every day.
Right.
Like, can we just celebrate that and give you a space to process? This is just like a year like there isn't any other. And when you have to throw out that lesson plan, throw it out.
Yep. And we call having back pocket activities, right? Hosting a circle is one of them. Knowing your kids and reading them enough to know, and also watching the news of what's going on in their communities, because those babies are bringing them into the room from TK to 12, right? And then I also think, Joey, you bring up, and this is where we do other trainings around, like, what are your 5 back pocket activities when nothing is working? We usually do this for people who are after school staff and youth development, but we're finding in class settings now, kids are needing more of that pressure release. And then Joy, you also bring up, Joy, SEL, right? What is social emotional learning? And what we have found is us adults need it right now. So one of the ways I've designed in our trainings, many with districts, is instead of teaching the kids, let's teach adults right now how to apply it to their life. Because here's the big secret the kids don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, we're breaking down more than them in some ways. And we're bringing that stress into the class. We're masking it, some of us, but then some of us Thanksgiving cannot come quick enough. We don't know if we're going to make it there. And so, Joy, I like what you say. Sometimes start with a circle. Open up. Of course, there are lines upon what you say. But when a kid can see that the adult leadership in their room needs a moment, we also then give them a moment as well. And that's okay. Joey, you also said there's no year like this ever. I've told my clients, anyone wrote a book, anyone find a book around how to deal with COVID, social unrest, in 1 year, in 2 years, if you found that book, please send it to me because I cannot find it as a researcher. It's because you're writing it right now. Nestro, I want to acknowledge you. Hi, my friend. Aaron, I see your hand. Let me just acknowledge Nestro real quick. Nestro, I see that you said, yes, I am hurting. I want to acknowledge everyone on this call that even though this part of the call is done at 5, I stay on from 5 to 5:30 if you want some individual coaching or just a moment to talk. And so, Nestro, I'd love to invite you if you want. If you need some space after this, I will be on the call as well. Thank you. Until 5:30. Erin, hi, it's good to see your face.
Hi, thank you so much for having us here. I was just, listening and I was just thinking, especially when you mentioned how as adults need to have our own balance as well so we could best support our kids. I'm teaching kindergarten. This is my first year teaching. I don't really have as much of a reference as the rest of you do in terms of what is considered normal. I was in a preschool setting for a while, so I kind of had an idea of what I may be walking into for kindergarten. But we're talking about empathy in our second step curriculum, our SEL curriculum right now. And, we're taking circle time. We literally spend the whole period just talk about feelings, being able to recognize it in each other. And it's such an amazing review for me as well. I was telling like a lot of my friends too, kind of the things they're reviewing, and they're like, yeah, I need that too as an adult. So it really benefits everyone. And best of all, kind of like what Joey was just saying, it kind of builds a community when you're talking about things that are personal, when you're talking about your emotions and the hard things. It brings people together, and that's a great way to generate joy.
It does. And you all, thank you, Erin. Let's remember these kids are resilient, right? Like some of the kindergartners, the younger primary age, they're really resilient. It's the middle school in some ways and high school, maybe even 5th grade up, that are like, what just happened in my life? What's going on? And so even with those kindergartners, now the thing is they got more energy than ever because they were locked in the house. So they're going to bounce everywhere. But that's really great. And I think empathy is something to lead with for every hard conversation right now when it comes to interactions with just humans in all areas of life. And so really love to hear that. You all, I want to still open up the space is what's coming up for you all. And after all the things Erin said and our other friends, what would you guys like to share? Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to give you a tool because it's very hard for me to never give a tool in some setting. You guys are educators. You know that. That's my teacher training right there. What is to do? Can you all see my screen where you complete your survey? Great. So one of the things, I just want to give you a couple things to try. A couple things that I've tried as an educator, as a youth developer, as a mama. I'm trying everything. Ooh, that's a whole nother workshop there. And so try this. Use surprise as a way to generate gratefulness or joy. Surprise for your students, your staff, and yourself. One of the things I find is people love Grubhub gift cards out of nowhere. Kids love when we bring little treats or we have little moments that they didn't think were going to happen, but we take that moment, like Joy says, and we do that circle. Or we play with them, right? How many of us as middle school educators play with our kids anymore? We don't. My kids, what they love the most out of everything I taught them is when I went outside and played basketball with them. That's when we had the most transformative conversations and I could teach them hard concepts. I was exhausted and I was too old to be out there playing basketball with these middle school kids, but they loved it, right? I see some smiles. I think you guys, play handball, play Foursquare. A lot of politics happen when Foursquare happens on the playground. Number 2, do the unexpected. If you are conservative, break the rules once in a while. One of the things I find for us as teachers, as leaders sometimes, especially because of so many protocols we've had to reinforce over the last 2 years, many people are like, I don't want to be the reinforcer, right? That's been really hard. I'm following every rule. Well, maybe one day breaking the rule is we go outside 5 minutes early. It's not going to hurt anyone, but you give them 5 more minutes of fresh air. Maybe as an administrator, breaking the rule is today in the staff meeting, we're going to take 10 minutes to eat cupcakes. I don't know, something like that. Everyone loves cupcakes. And then third, have the kids plan and do a game day, right? Where is the pressure relief for you and also for them or for your staff? Sometimes it may just be a moment in this season. It's November. It is a great moment to say, let's do a gratitude list. Let's reflect back that we couldn't be with each other last year, but we're here now, and some of us miss being at home on mute. Is there anything you all would like to add to this list of what some of our friends on here can try to generate joy for themselves, for their staff, and even for their youngins as we wrap today? Okay. Let me take down the screen. Can you guys still see my screen? Yeah, you can. Okay, there we go. Great. All right, my friends, with 1 minute left, can you please find one word or a hashtag to put in the chat box or speak out loud of what you will take away with you today? A hashtag or a word of what you will take away with you today. Today, I was reminded of how wonderful it was to be a teacher. And so you all, even with the hardship, the hashtag I take away is hashtag I love teachers. So I'll put that in the chat box. Anyone else want to add something? Someone said hashtag keep gratitude flowing. Yes. Validation of my humanity as a teacher. Yes. Yes. Put your name in step 1113. If you hit, oh, okay. Thank you. Hashtag play games. Play, y'all. There's a book called Play that is actually about how play is therapeutic. It's a good book to read if you guys want to order. It's just called Play. Really good. All right, my friends.